Find a comfortable place. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's story. Today's story is about a woman who captured the hearts of millions of people around the world. Her name was Princess Diana. Even today, nearly 3 decades after her death, people still remember her kindness, her beautiful smile, and the compassion she showed to others. Some know her as the Princess of Wales. Others lovingly call her the People's Princess. But Diana was much more than the titles she carried. She was a daughter, a mother, a humanitarian, and above all, a woman who changed the way people saw royalty forever. And today, we are going to discover the incredible story of Princess Diana. So, let's begin. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. It is the year 1961 in England. A little girl is born into an aristocratic family. That may sound like a hard English word, but aristocrat is a person born into a noble, wealthy, or upper-class family with high social status and privilege. No one around the little girl knew that one day she will become one of the most loved women in modern history. That little girl was Diana Spencer. Princess Diana was born on the 1st of July, 1961, in Norfolk, England. She grew up in a beautiful country home, surrounded by gardens and open fields. From the outside, her childhood looked almost perfect. After all, she came from a wealthy and noble family. But life was not always easy for young Diana. When she was only 7 years old, her parents divorced. At the time, divorce was uncommon and often difficult for children to understand. Diana later admitted that it had a profound impact on her childhood. She often felt lonely and struggled emotionally as she grew older. Despite her hardships, Diana was known for her gentle and caring personality. She loved music, dancing, swimming, and spending time outdoors. One of her biggest dreams was to become a ballet dancer. Unfortunately, she became too tall to pursue ballet professionally, but her love for art and beauty never left her. Unlike many members of aristocratic families, Diana was not particularly interested in academics. She wasn't the top student in school, and she sometimes struggled with her studies. But there was one thing she possessed that no classroom could teach: kindness. She had a natural ability to make people feel comfortable and cared for. Even as a young girl, people described her as warm, compassionate, and thoughtful. As Diana grew older, she lived a surprisingly ordinary life. Before becoming royalty, she worked as a nanny, a kindergarten assistant, and occasionally helped care for children. She enjoyed spending time with her friends and living independently in London. At that time, she was simply a shy young woman trying to build her future. Little did she know that her life was about to change forever. Meanwhile, inside Buckingham Palace, Prince Charles, the future King of England, was one of the most eligible bachelors in the world. Intelligent, charming, and admired by many, Charles was expected to marry someone suitable for the royal family. Diana and Charles had known of each other through their social circles, but it wasn't until later that their relationship began to develop. Soon, newspapers across Britain became fascinated by Diana. The media affectionately gave her the nickname Shy Di. People loved her bright blue eyes, her shy smile, and her gentle personality. Unlike celebrities of today, Diana had no media training. She was only 19 years old when photographers began following her everywhere she went. Imagine being 19 years old and suddenly becoming one of the most photographed women in the world. It sounds exciting, doesn't it? But for Diana, it was terrifying. Every outfit she wore became newspaper headlines. Every photograph was published across magazines and television screens. Millions of people wanted to know who she was and what she was like. In 1981, Prince Charles proposed to Diana. She said yes. Overnight, Lady Diana Spencer became one of the most famous women on earth. On the 29th of July, 1981, Diana married Prince Charles at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Their wedding was watched by an estimated 750 million people worldwide. It was called the wedding of the century. People woke up early just to watch her walk down the aisle in her breathtaking ivory wedding dress, complete with an extraordinary 25-foot train. For millions of people, it felt like a real-life fairy tale. A young kindergarten assistant had become a princess. But as we all know, fairy tales are not always what they seem. At just 20 years old, Diana became the Princess of Wales. She was expected to adapt immediately to royal life, a world filled with centuries-old traditions, strict rules, and enormous responsibilities. Life inside the royal family was far more difficult than she had imagined. There was very little privacy. Cameras followed her everywhere. Every public appearance was carefully planned and analyzed by the media. Even something as simple as smiling or waving had to meet royal expectations. Despite being surrounded by luxury and grandeur, Diana often felt lonely. She later spoke openly about feeling isolated and struggling to adjust to life as a royal. The pressure of being constantly watched by millions of people began to take a toll on her emotional well-being. Yet, through it all, something remarkable happened. The public fell completely in love with her. Princess Diana wasn't like other royals. She laughed naturally, spoke warmly to strangers, and wasn't afraid to show emotion. She hugged children, held the hands of hospital patients, and knelt beside people who needed comfort. People felt that she was genuine. Soon, newspapers began calling her the People's Princess, a title she would carry forever. In 1982, Diana welcomed her first son, Prince William. 2 years later, Prince Harry was born. Being a mother became one of the greatest joys of her life. Unlike many royal traditions, Diana wanted her children to experience the real world. She didn't want them to grow up believing that palaces and titles were all that mattered. She took William and Harry to amusement parks, fast food restaurants, cinemas, and even homeless shelters. She wanted them to understand how ordinary people lived. She believed kindness and empathy were far more important than royal status. William and Harry have both spoken lovingly about their mother over the years. They describe her as playful, affectionate, and someone who filled their childhood with laughter and warmth. But while Diana's public image continued to shine brightly, her private life was becoming increasingly difficult. Her marriage to Prince Charles was struggling. Over time, differences between them became impossible to ignore. They had different personalities, interests, and expectations of royal life. One of the most painful aspects of their marriage involved Camilla Parker Bowles. Prince Charles had known Camilla long before meeting Diana, and their relationship continued to cast a shadow over the royal marriage. Diana later spoke honestly about the emotional pain she experienced during those years. In her famous BBC Panorama interview in 1995, she said something that would become one of the most memorable quotes in royal history. "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Those simple words shocked the world. Members of the royal family rarely discuss their personal struggles publicly, yet Diana chose honesty over silence. She spoke openly about feeling lonely and misunderstood, and in doing so, she helped millions of people realize that even princesses can struggle with heartbreak and emotional pain. Despite everything happening in her personal life, Diana never stopped helping others. In fact, her humanitarian work became one of the most important parts of her legacy. Princess Diana visited hospitals, children's charities, homeless shelters, and orphanages all around the world. She treated everyone with kindness and dignity, regardless of their background or social status. One of the most powerful moments of her life came during the AIDS crisis in the 1980s. At the time, many people feared AIDS patients because they did not fully understand the disease. Some believed it could spread through a simple handshake or by sitting next to someone. As a result, many patients were isolated and treated unfairly. Princess Diana wanted to change that. In 1987, she publicly shook hands with an AIDS patient without wearing gloves. Today, That may not seem unusual, but at the time, it was revolutionary. That single gesture helped educate millions of people around the world and challenged the stigma surrounding the disease. Diana proved that compassion can sometimes change minds more effectively than speeches or campaigns. Later, she became involved in raising awareness about landmines in war-torn countries. She visited dangerous regions where innocent civilians had lost limbs or family members because of hidden explosives. One of the most iconic photographs of Princess Diana shows her walking through a cleared minefield in protective gear. Her visit brought international attention to an issue that many world leaders had previously ignored. She used her fame not to promote herself, but to shine a light on the suffering of others. And that is one of the greatest reasons why people loved her so deeply. In 1996, Prince Charles and Princess Diana officially divorced. Although she lost the title of Her Royal Highness, she remained one of the most admired women in the world. For the first time in many years, Diana had begun building a new chapter in her life. She devoted more time to humanitarian causes and focused on being a loving mother to William and Harry. Many people believed that Diana had finally found a sense of freedom and independence. She seemed excited about the future. Sadly, tragedy was just around the corner. On the 31st of August, 1997, Princess Diana was involved in a car accident in Paris, France. She was only 36 years old. The news spread rapidly across the world. Millions of people simply could not believe it. Television stations interrupted their regular programs to announce the heartbreaking news. Newspapers published special editions. People cried openly in the streets. Outside Buckingham Palace, thousands of flowers began to appear. Then thousands more. Soon, there were mountains of flowers stretching across the gates of Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace. People left handwritten letters, photographs, teddy bears, and candles. Many of them had never met Princess Diana. Yet they felt as though they had lost someone they knew personally. Her funeral became one of the most watched events in television history. Millions of people watched as the world said goodbye to the people's princess. But Princess Diana's story did not end on that day. Her kindness continues to inspire people around the world. She changed the way royalty connects with ordinary people. She showed us that vulnerability is not weakness and that compassion has the power to change lives. More than 25 years later, charities continue to honor her legacy. Her humanitarian work remains an inspiration, and her sons continue many of the values she taught them. Princess Diana taught us something incredibly important. True royalty is not about crowns, castles, or titles. It is about kindness. It is about using your voice to help others. It is about showing compassion even when life is difficult. Princess Diana faced loneliness, heartbreak, and unimaginable public pressure. Yet, she never stopped caring for those around her. And that is why, even today, the world still remembers her name. Princess Diana, the people's princess. And with that, our story comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed learning about the incredible life of Princess Diana. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Storyverse English for more fascinating stories from history. Until next time, take care of yourself, keep learning, and keep exploring the stories that changed our world. Goodbye, friends. I'll see you in the next story.